Welcome, friends. This is Altazar, and this is our presentation on Chinese Relationship Compatibility Astrology. Now, we're going to pause for a moment as I improve our microphone. Okay, hopefully we're going to have better reception there. And I welcome you all who are here for this presentation. This is Altazar. So tonight I have the privilege of sharing with you some deep mystical secrets associated with relationship compatibility that comes from the ancient Chinese astrology. Now, before I get into this discussion, I'd like to briefly summarize my background and some of the spiritual basis for these interpretations. I know some of you have seen me before, so just bear with me in terms of this introduction, and then we'll get right into looking at the Chinese astrology. So, again, my name is Altazar of altazarastrology.com. I welcome you to check out my website and look at all the different types of readings. My background over the past 25 years has included the fundamentals of Western astrology, which is including metaphysics and psychology. But also I have studied the ancient understanding of astrology through the Vedic Hindu point of view that really draws from the true meaning of astrology that has evolved over the past 5,000 years or more. Also, I've studied the Buddhist perspective on karma and reincarnation, and as well have studied Chinese astrology. So bringing these perspectives all together has evolved towards my unique approach to astrology, which I call spiritual astrology. So unlike the marginalization of astrology in Western society, especially the United States, astrology is a very deep combination of astronomical, scientific, and spiritual metaphysic psychological understanding of describing the soul's journey, each individual's soul growth journey. So I'm going to just, in a nutshell, give you the spiritual perspective here, which you don't have to agree with to hear tonight's presentation, which you can verify in your own experience. And in fact, that is the new paradigm of spirituality. It is experiential spirituality. It's not just based on, take my word for it or believe it, and hopefully you'll realize it after you pass away. But these practices and these teachings and these expositions should actually be verified in your experience. So the perspective is as follows, that life is a school in which we're here to evolve our consciousness to higher and higher levels of awareness of the meaning of spiritual principles that, when inculcated in our attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors, yields greater and greater levels of harmony, happiness, peace of mind, prosperity, and loving relationships in our lives. From this point of view, we live many lifetimes on this journey of soul growth evolution, or what's known as karma and reincarnation. So during our many lifetimes, we may evolve attunement with these spiritual laws and principles that increase our vibrational level and yield greater gifts and talents, as well as positive attraction to socioeconomic and educational resources that we have earned and come into in this lifetime. On the other hand, we may, due to egoic self-will or simply out of ignorance, be violating certain principles of law, love, and harmony and peace in the world in our prior lifetimes, and therefore we generate negative karma. And so everyone is a mix, generally speaking, unless you're a highly evolved yogi, of positive karma and some negative karma. And the negative karma, or maybe a lot of negative karma, like in Adolf Hitler, but the negative karma is what we're here to get out of denial about and embrace the spiritual practices as well as personal growth and healing dynamics that best evolve our soul towards a higher vibrational level, which then improves our health, yields more fulfilling relationships, increases our prosperity, and ultimately gives us more peace of mind. And that's what we're really looking for, as well as fulfillment or self-actualization. So that's the brief summary of the spiritual perspective. But tonight, we're going to get into Chinese astrology, and I hope many of you know your Chinese year. When I do these workshops at various community centers, I have an interactive process with people, so I help them discern their Chinese year if they don't know it. Tonight I'm going to help you if you don't already know your Chinese year. I have a chart to reflect that. And then we're going to talk about the meaning of your Chinese year. I'm going to go through them all and its significance in terms of your relationship compatibility. And we have here the basics of relationship astrology. And on Friday evening I did a live video, which is now recorded, and you can watch on, if you go to my Facebook homepage where it talks about relationship compatibility astrology, you'll see I have that video there. That was a whole hour exposition on relationship compatibility vis-a-vis the Western signs, such as your sun sign. So this is an extension of that discussion, but you don't need to have been a part of that first presentation to hear the salient points of what we're going to get into tonight. So let me take a look here at the camera to make sure we are on accurately, and we'll go from there. How's that? So it's important to reiterate that astrology is here to help us understand better how to relate to other people and ourselves and evolve a greater sense of the interconnectedness of life and our willingness to be accepting of others as they are rather than trying to change them or control them. So astrology is not meant to, and especially tonight when you find out your Chinese year and may hear about the Chinese year of someone who you're going to have some tension or challenge with, astrology is not meant to evolve a prejudice towards other people based on their sign or anything else. Of course, we know it's not appropriate to have a prejudice based on color of someone's skin or their ethnic or nationality. Well, the same applies here to the signs, but it's simply a better way to understand who they are and determine whether they're compatible with you. Now, I like to embrace the definition of love that grows out of the famous book by M. Scott Peck called The Road Less Traveled. So that book is summarized by the following sentence, that love is the willingness to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own spiritual growth and sense of life purpose, and that of one's partner. So, there are many sensibilities about love, and we have it all through the media and the movies and television shows. But according to these teachings, the higher dimension of love, as it really comes from the heart, is not based on, the rudimentary process that a lot of people go through, like sexual attraction or mutual shared recreational or social activities, like bicycling or skiing or going to certain movies or certain restaurants. And so for some, the combination of the mutual recreational activities and the fact that they're sexually or at least apparently attracted to each other can be the whole basis for why they get involved with each other. And so the higher dimensions of love are connected to the willingness to go through your own self-exploration, to understand who you really are, why you're here spiritually, and what is your soul growth journey. What are you here to heal? What life purpose are you about? Why do you have a certain profession or career? And do you have a passion for that? And as well, being able to communicate that honestly to a prospective partner, rather than, like some people do, try to appraise who their partner is and what their partner is looking for and try to adapt communicating ways to see if they can make themselves appear to be like what the other person is looking for. Not honest. So when two people honestly share what they're about, what their values are for a lifestyle, for family, for social, cultural, recreational activities, and they go through that sensibility of whether they really connect and can support each other along those lines as well as their career or life purpose, that enhances the deeper spiritual sensibilities in their heart that lend towards love. So we're done with that point of view as well. However you're going to look at this, you can apply it to what your sense is for relationships. So I did talk about, on Friday evening, the fact that there are some basics of relationship astrology, and to embrace understanding those basics, essentially one needs to put together a map like this. This chart, this map here, is the basis for, in fact, learning astrology. And it starts by simply learning the 12 signs and learning the 4 elements: fire, earth, air, and water. And then from there going more deeply in terms of understanding the meaning of those energies. What does it mean to be a fire sign or an earth sign, a Gemini, air sign, or a water sign? So tonight, though, we're not focusing on the Western astrological signs. We're focusing on the Chinese year that correlates with those Western signs. Now, before I go any further to talk about what it means to be born in a Chinese year, you have to know your Chinese year, or this whole discussion may be somewhat empty for you. So let's just quickly check and see if the camera is offering that perspective, which it is. Okay. So, this is a guide to finding your Chinese year. So, we start, each one of these years are listed here. So, try to find your year of birth. And just as a reminder, your Chinese year, the Chinese year, starts relatively around the end of January, early February every year. So if you're born in January, between especially January 1st and January 25th, you will be part of the previous Chinese year. So for example, let's say someone is born on January 2nd, 1995. Well, in fact, they are part of the previous Chinese year, 1994, which is the year of the dog. So, I don't know who's watching or what question you may have, but just to start out with, you can find your Chinese year here, and they are listed every 12 years changes, the Chinese year returns to your same Chinese year. So someone born in 1953 is born in the year of the snake, you add 12 years, 65, add 12 years, 77, add 12 years, 89. So this applies to each of the Chinese years. So if you're born in 1992, which is the year of the monkey, if you want to know the next Chinese year, add 12 years, and 2004 is the year of the monkey also. However, your Chinese year is not only about the year that you're born in, but there are 5 types associated with each of the 12 Chinese years. In other words, metal, water, wood, fire, and earth. So, in other words, let's say you're born in the year of the monkey, 1980. If you're born in a 0 year, let's say 1980, or 1990, or 1950, whatever the case, you'll see the guideline for finding your element up here. So if you're born in any decade in a 0-1 year, that would be like 1990, 1991, you are born in a metal year. So someone born in 1990 is born in the year of the metal horse. Someone born in 1980 is born in the year of the metal monkey. Now I'll talk about this, what it means to be born in a metal year as we go along here. But let's move on. So if you're born in any decade in a 2 or a 3, in other words, the last digit of the year you're born is a 2 or a 3, such as 1943 or 1983, that is a water year. Someone born in 1983 is born in the year of the water boar. Okay. Now as we move along, if you're born in a 4 or a 5 year, in other words, the last digit of the year that you're born in, 1964, 1974, 1985, then you are born in a wood year. Someone born in 1954 is born in the year of the wood horse. Someone born in 1985 is born in the year of the wood ox. Someone born in 1994 is born in the year of the wood dog. We'll move on. Fire, 6 and 7 year. And earth, 8 and 9 year. So, we'll go into a further discussion of compatibility here in a moment, but this, I hope, gives you a sensibility to have found your Chinese year based on the listings here and the element that goes with your Chinese year: metal, water, wood, fire, and earth. Now what I'd like to do briefly is just simply show you, this is a formal astrology chart. This is the astrology chart of Bill Clinton, former President Bill Clinton. So just so you're aware, Bill Clinton, 1946, born in the year of the fire dog. Astrology chart consists of 72 factors. Your sun sign is one of those factors, and all the other planets were in signs the day you were born, which indicate the most complete picture of all the facets of your character, personality, and life purpose. So I don't want to oversimplify this tonight, or for those who've never had a chart made, to realize that astrology is very deep and complex, and every person has unique configurations associated with how they approach relationships. Checking our camera just to make sure we're still on here, and okay, we're good. So welcome those who've arrived a little later. You are welcome. This is Altazar, and we are pursuing now our discussion of Chinese Relationship Compatibility Astrology. Down here I have an exposition of how to find your Chinese year, and up here how to find the element, which we just had a discussion of. But now we're going to get into talking about the basics of relationship astrology. So again, this chart here is the best tool for understanding the potential for compatibility between various signs in the West, but also their correlative in the Chinese astrology. So in other words, the Chinese year that correlates with the sign Scorpio is the year of the boar. The Chinese year that correlates, let's start over here. Chinese year that correlates with Aries is the dragon. The Chinese year that correlates with Taurus is the snake. The Chinese year that correlates with Gemini is the horse. Cancer is the sheep. Monkey, Leo. Rooster, Virgo. Dog, Libra. Boar, Scorpio. Rat, Sagittarius. Capricorn, Ox. Tiger, Aquarius. Rabbit, Pisces. So this can help some of you understand how to at least relate some of the themes of the Western signs, if you're familiar with the Western signs, with the Chinese year of your birth. So now what I'd like to impress upon you is that over 25 years of doing relationship compatibility readings and analyses for people who are considering getting married, divorced, just even dating, I have found that your Chinese year of birth is a more accurate summary of your general character and personality expression in the world than your sun sign is. So in other words, for example, I'm a Pisces, okay? The generalizations for Pisces are sensitive, quiet, shy, reserved, spiritual, ethereal, and certainly I fit some of those descriptions. But I'm born in the year of the horse. Now, if you're born in the year of the horse, that implies that you're here to be a communicator, like a Gemini, say. So, in fact, a lot of people guess that I'm a Gemini because the predominant dynamic of my character in the world is being a communicative person, a social networker, and someone who is and enjoys disseminating information and learning lots of information, which is a kind of Gemini theme. Okay, so that's why I'm indicating to you it's helpful to understand the Western sign that goes with your Chinese year. Now, I'm going to start by talking about some of the principles here of compatibility. And it starts with same element harmony. So as much as in the Western perspective, your Sun or Venus position, if it's in a fire sign, you'll tend to get along with other fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. From the Chinese point of view, if you're born in the year of the dragon, you're going to tend to get along best with someone born in the year of the monkey or the rat. And when I design what's called an ideal mate profile for someone, I don't have the chart here, but an ideal mate profile starts with writing down the most compatible Chinese years for a person born in any specific year, moderate compatible Chinese years, and also those that are going to be pretty challenging or difficult. So we're going to talk a bit about that tonight. But starting out with those Chinese years of birth that are most compatible with you, you will tend to get along best. And this, is an interesting point, because let's say you are an Aries, and two of your most difficult signs are Cancer and Capricorn from the Western point of view. Well, let's say you meet someone who's born in the year of the monkey. Even though their sun sign may be challenging for you, the fundamental theme of their life purpose expression, being born in the year of the monkey, implies that the blend of the configuration of their astrology chart will lend towards them being more compatible with you. So again, the point being that when doing a compatibility perspective or an ideal mate profile for someone, and someone who's dating or checking out someone for a relationship, I consider the most important foundation factor to determine your potential compatibility with that person their Chinese year of birth. And then you can go more deeply into their sun sign, their Venus position, their moon, etc., which is part of the first presentation that I gave. And I have borne this out in 25 years of experience. So, in other words, if you're born in the year of the dragon, or the year of the monkey, or the year of the rat, you will find that you'll have a pretty good level of compatibility with people born in those mutual Chinese years. If you're born in the year of the snake, the rooster, or the ox, that is the trinity of Chinese years you will tend to be most compatible with as well. If you're born in the year of the horse, the dog, or the tiger, that's the trinity of people you will tend to be most readily compatible with as well. And you can bear this out. Go through your life and find the birth years of people you've known, dated, or even people in your family, and reflect on how compatible you'd been with those people. So, next we have the years of sheep, the boar, and the rabbit. So this is our principle of same element harmony. Now, what do I mean by element? So if you're born in the fire trinity, that's the years of the dragon, the monkey, and the rat. That implies that you will tend to have a character of being energetic and outgoing, enthusiastic, and somewhat extroverted type of person. If you're born in the earth trinity, that is the years of the snake, the rooster, and the ox, that means that you are here to have a theme of getting grounded and practical in this life. The snake is one of the most grounded creatures you're going to find. And it implies that you're here to evolve the skills, talents, and abilities that you sense you can cultivate to ultimately find a career or a service expression in the world, and hopefully make a good living at it and feel enhanced self-worth by virtue of manifesting your skills and talents and your life purpose associated with your soul growth. So that's the earth trinity of the snake, the rooster, and the ox. We'll get more specific as we go along. Now we're going into the air trinity. People born either the horse, the dog, or the tiger. So if you're born in any of those Chinese years, the fundamental theme of your life is that you're here to evolve your communication skills and abilities in varying contexts that can inspire, inform, uplift, and or be a catalyst for progress of consciousness. Next, we're looking at the last trinity, the years of the sheep, the boar, and the rabbit. So if you're born in what we call the water trinity, that implies that fundamentally you are here to evolve your sensitivities, your empathy, your ability to be more conscious and aware of your feelings and needs, as well as have greater empathy and sensitivity or compassion for others. It implies you're here to evolve the ability to be nurturing and sensitive and receptive to others. It implies that you may tend to have to focus through the arts or psychology or spirituality in this life to really work on evolving soul growth, and be inclined to want to have a partner who's going to do that as well. So I'm now going to just take a moment again to check our camera and make sure we're functional. Thank you all for being here. Okay, we are good. Hoping you see me and I'm not half cut off. So we are talking about the basics of relationship astrology as they're applicable to and associated with Chinese astrology. So we've just talked about the different trinities which reflect same element harmony for the potential compatibility you have with another person. And I will reiterate the point that your Chinese year of birth is the more powerful and foundation factor in determining how compatible you might be with another person than your sun sign is. As well, your Chinese year of birth is more of an accurate summary of your potential character and identity expression in the world than your sun sign is. So these are important factors in realizing why, when scoping out a prospective partner or understanding an established relationship, the first thing that we look at is, and I look at especially given all the modalities of astrology that I've studied, first thing I look at is a person's Chinese year. Now, I will also mention that in India and in China and many Asian countries where there's an understanding of both these Chinese perspectives of character as well as the Vedic understandings of karma, that when there's an astrologer who does an analysis of birth dates for a family, this is where you have prearranged marriages. Now, I'm not advocating prearranged marriages based on children, because there are many societies that's just based on politics and economics and things like that. But in the more Brahmin evolved, spiritually centered people, the yogic types of people, who have prearranged marriages based on this kind of astrological analysis, they have statistically a higher success rate of marital relations not yielding or ending in divorce than in the West, where essentially there's a chaotic approach to relationships based on sexual attraction or other external recreational interests. So with that said, we're going to move into now coming back to the Chinese years specifically and talking about the elements. Now I mentioned earlier that one could be born in the year of the metal dragon, or they could be born in the year of the water dragon, or the wood dragon, the fire dragon, or the earth dragon. So there's an added dimension of compatibility associated with the element that a person may have. So in other words, let's say you are born in the year of the dragon, and your most compatible Chinese years tend to be the monkey and the rat. Again, the fire trinity. That's using this map, adding 4 to the location that the year in question is. And so, okay, let's say someone born in the year of the dragon meets someone born in the year of the monkey. Now, let's say that person is born in 1940. Year of the dragon, 1940. That, as I've shared, anyone born in a 0-1 year in a decade is a metal. So that person's a metal dragon. Now let's say they meet someone who's born in the year 1944. 44 is the year of the wood. 4 or 5 year is in any decade a wood year. So 1944, a wood monkey. So someone born in the year of the metal, you think about an axe as metal and a tree as wood. So metal and wood tend not to be very compatible. In fact, that's the least favorable compatibility for people of those elements. So in other words, a better possibility for someone born in the year of the metal, let's say someone born in the year of the wood monkey would be someone born in an earth year or a water year. It's very logical, very simple. Water feeds a tree. Earth supports a tree. Okay? So using the same principle, let's say dragon, monkey, and rat, 3 very favorable, the Trinity, fire Trinity. Then someone born, let's say, in 1944 would do a lot better with someone born in 1948. So that's the year of the rat. An 8 year is an earth year. So that would be a more favorable compatibility than if that person born in 1944, the wood monkey, was connecting with a metal dragon. Now, here's why. So this right now we're talking about just the structure of the analysis. But to put it in concrete terms, someone born in the year of the metal dragon. Dragon is a year of people who are intense and highly motivated, self-reliant, rugged individualists. And metal implies that they're inclined to want to really affect public, social, or cultural institutions in society. I'll give you a couple of examples of people born in 1940. Bruce Lee, the famous karate champion movie star, and Chuck Norris, also a karate champion movie star and television actor. These are dynamic, rugged individualists, highly independent, and very ambitious people affecting public institutions. Now, someone born in the year 1944, the year of the wood monkey, people born in the year of the monkey are here to also be somewhat dramatic and playful and expressive, or evolve leadership abilities. But wood people, I'm born in a wood year as well, are here to evolve and embrace higher consciousness, are much more introspective, are much more inclined to have an integral part of their life prayer or meditation or spirituality or philosophy, education, and higher consciousness. So the metal person, just may not relate on the level, the intellectual and informational or spiritual level that the wood person is about. So, who does the metal person tend to get along with the best? Fire. So, let's say our metal dragon met someone born in 1956, the year of the fire monkey. Well, there you have a much more outgoing, extroverted type of active person. In fact, Tom Hanks, the famous actor, is born in 1956, the year of the fire monkey. So, and as well, metal helps cultivate earth. So, earth people tend to be, if you're born in an 8 or a 9 year in any decade, earth people tend to be geared towards cultivating their identity in a way that makes money or affects the public resources of society, as much as a metal person is trying to impact public institutions in society. And a perfect example of someone born in the year of the Earth Rat, 1948, is our former Vice President Al Gore. Now, why is he well, he's an outgoing person. He was a politician. And people born in the year of the rat tend to want to be expansive in terms of understanding culture, society, politics, and even spirituality. But Earth, its connection to the practicality of affecting the environment. And lo and behold, we have Al Gore becoming the premier activist for raising consciousness associated with global warming and the effect on the ecology of the Earth. So you see, even though Al Gore is an Aries by sun sign, he much more, in a breadth sense, demonstrates the dynamic of being an Earth rat. So this is how the elements interplay with one another. Water nurtures wood. Wood can fuel a fire, so there can be some compatibility there as well. And water puts out a fire. So if you're born in just those elemental years, that can raise some differences that require compromise and growth in regards to acceptance and understanding between two people. So now we're going to look at the other trinities in terms of compatibility. Before I do that, given how much time we have here tonight, where this is going to be an hour presentation, I want to look at some of the extremes in terms of, I've talked about same element harmony, I've talked about the elements and their interplay between water, wood, fire, earth, and metal, based on your Chinese year as well. But now I want to go to the other extreme, tension growth or opposites. Now, in the Western zodiac, your opposite can be a very powerful attraction. In fact, the majority of relationships I've been in the past, being a Pisces, has been Virgo. That's your opposite. Your opposite is found 180 degrees on this map, this way. If you're an Aries, your opposite is Libra. If you're a Cancer, your opposite is Capricorn. Now, and from the Western sun sign point of view, those can be pretty good relationships and very powerful ways of two people learning from each other based on somewhat opposite emphases for their self-actualization. But in the Chinese year's point of view, your opposite Chinese year is considered your most challenging person born in that Chinese year. In other words, you got 12 possibilities. You know, someone born in the year of the dragon could meet someone born in the year of the snake, or the horse, or the sheep, or the rooster. And it helps to understand, you know, what overall character, identity expression people have in those Chinese years. But your opposite Chinese year, the year of the dragon, is the year of the dog. And I have found over 25 years of doing relationship compatibilities, and just my own experience with people I meet and how I feel whether compatible or not, that there's less than a 10% chance of, let's say, consummating a workable long-term relationship or marriage with someone born in your opposite Chinese year and your most difficult element, metal, water, wood, earth, or fire. So in other words, if someone is born in the year of the dragon, let's say our example we took before, Bruce Lee, year of the metal dragon. Now let's say he met someone born in the year of the wood dog. Okay. From this point of view, statistically, and could be borne out just in experience, there's less than a 10% chance that they will be able to consummate a long-term connection. Now, fundamentally, why is that? Well, the year of the dragon is someone who's here to powerfully express a unique individuality and self-reliant identity. Someone born in the year of the dog is here to cultivate relationships and really seeks evolving intimacy and a close-knit type of connection with another person. So that's pretty contradictory. With someone born in the year of the dragon who's going to be off on their crusade and wild, unique individual mission in life and not be around much, or not be inclined to want to share on a day-to-day basis or evolve understanding of intimacy and share lots of things going on in their life. So I'm going to continue to talk about these opposites now. So if you're born in the year of the snake, then your opposite Chinese year is the year of the boar. So let me just say this. Right now, if you're dating or involved or married to someone born in your opposite Chinese year, don't start consulting lawyers or planning your separation. There are many happy and wonderful relationships of people born in opposite Chinese years. It may be more challenging and involve much more kind of compromise and understanding and willingness to not try to change or control the other person. But again, I will point out that a complete compatibility perspective based on the complexities of the whole astrology chart, not just the Chinese year, that's where a professional can really discern to what extent there is compatibility in the various facets of a relationship, such as home, family, and lifestyle, day-to-day communications, as Mercury symbolizes, values for lifestyle, approach to finances, and affectional expression that Venus symbolizes in a person's chart, Mars, approach to work and day-to-day activity, as well as sports and physical recreation and sexuality. So these are facets that go into the 35-factor element that we look at in detail in a relationship. So again, we are talking about just one theme here, but it's a very important theme regarding compatibility. I'm going to briefly check the camera again. We'll see how things are looking. Very good so far. And so, I think Steve Bross is here. Nice to see you. And so we are now continuing here. Why would someone born in the year of the snake have such difficulty with someone born in the year of the boar? Well, when you're born in the year of the snake, it implies that, again, the snake's the most grounded creature there is. And it implies a karmic theme that you are here to get past, maybe some past life excessive idealism and learn a skill or evolve what you discover as your skills, talents, and natural abilities and manifest them practically in the world. And in fact, enjoy making money, enjoy feeling the reward and the remuneration of, giving of yourself, your gifts and talents, and enjoying comfortable home, nice car, and not necessarily here to be materialistic, attached to materialism, but to enjoy, in fact, the deeper rewards of prosperity as it relates to an accurate expression of your soul and your life purpose. Now, on the other hand, we're in the year of the boar. Now, the boar is a wild pig. Okay. And none of these creatures are meant to be an aspersion or a denigration of, who you are, what you're here to be. Some people more in the year of the snake, or the year of the dog, or whatever. But it represents a certain dynamic of energetic expression. So when you're born in the year of the boar, a wild pig, that implies that you're a soul that is here to face a crisis of some kind in your consciousness. It implies that there's some psychological woundedness or karmic soul growth wound that you're here to face and heal and embrace practices like forgiveness and meditation to transcend. And so why do they pick the boar, a wild pig? Well, for a person who doesn't get out of denial about their issues or why they're here, they might have a father wound, an abandonment issue with their mother, abuse issue with their uncle or their brother, whatever. If they don't face the pain of that and heal it and discover the path of forgiveness, then they could tend towards addictions or wild behavior that can be self-destructive. So someone born in the year of the snake is not really inclined to be too actively looking at psychology and deeper emotional healing. It's not to say all. I mean, certainly people born in the year of the snake have deep perceptivity, but not necessarily at the depth of the need for regular emotional processing that someone born in the year of the boar may have. And that can be too much of a gap of contradiction between the two. Well, then we have the years of the horse and the rat. So if you're born in the year of the horse, it implies you're here to be and evolve your intellectual communicative skills that can be used on a local level with and inspire people through your intelligence. And because we're running out of time, I'm going to work at using the Trinities rather than going through the individuals. And another evening, and hopefully in future webinars, I'll go through each of these. But you can also look up your Chinese years and the characteristics of them on the internet. Google Year of the Horse or Google Year of the Monkey. At any rate, someone born in the year of the horse, rat is the most challenging. Someone born in part of this air trinity, year of the dog, I've talked about dragon being a problem. Year of the tiger, year of the monkey being a problem, being a challenge. Not necessarily a problem, but a challenge to understand and find some rapport. So what's the problem here between, let's say, the horse or the tiger versus the horse and the rat, or the tiger and the monkey? Is that the tiger and the horse are two people who tend to be more idealistic and intellectual, and are here to evolve, sharing information, and like I am as an astrologer, and being activists for raising consciousness through education or spiritual growth, inspiration, counseling, social humanitarian activism, as the tiger may embrace. The monkey is here to be much more living a personal life, or their life revolving around their unique kind of creative expression, or artistic expression, or dramatic leadership dynamics in their own personal sphere of business, and not necessarily be inclined to want to be participating in the greater mission and ministry of the social humanitarian activist that the tiger is about. The rat tends to be much more sociable in terms of their own unique sphere or organization or connection with people. And rats are societal type of people. They like their golf friends or their spiritual community connection, or they hang out at the Humane Society or whatever. And the horse person is much more wild. You know, the wild horse runs and loves freedom and loves to explore new places, different people, all sorts of adventure that may be too scattered or not just secure and centered enough for someone born in the year of the rat. So these are some of the energetic differences that we encounter. Now let's move on to the year of the sheep and the ox. Okay, well, the sheep is in the Trinity like the boar and the rabbit. The water Trinity, these are people who are here, as I shared about the year of the boar, to explore the deeper meaning of their feelings, their emotions, their needs. People born in the year of the sheep are about maternality. The sheep, they're here to nurture. They're here. Sheep provide us with wool for clothing. They provide us with meat. They like the sense of security that comes with hanging out with other sheep, if you will. So when you're born in the year of the sheep, it implies that you're inclined towards home, family, domesticity, engaging in caring and nurturing types of professions like nursing or psychologist or school guidance counselor, or hospitality services like hotels, restaurants, selling real estate, and things that relate to the family, marriage, family, and child counselors. On the other hand, someone born in the ox, like Barack Obama, is a Leo ox. He's a middle ox. They are here driven by ambition. They represent the father energy, the energy of authoritativeness, the energy of finding a mission that they can have an impact on the structure of society through politics or business or corporations, and affect the socioeconomic resources, the macroistic dynamics of the world at large. Statistically, most of the great world leaders are born in the year of the ox. So there's quite a dramatic difference, the personal, intimate, emotional dynamic that someone born in the year of the sheep is inclined in home and family, versus this, macroistic political mission of impacting the world at large. Can be quite a problem. And the same, not exactly the same, but applies to the rabbit. So someone born in the year of the rabbit is a sensitive, innocuous, gentle creature. You can see how this applies to the rabbit applies to people and their attributes. The rabbit is the prey of many predators. Rabbits are chased by dogs, cats, eagles, lions. And half the creatures out there are happy to catch and eat a rabbit. The rabbit's on the run, and rabbits therefore need a very protected nest where they can feel secure. So when one's born in the year of the rabbit, it implies that they have a fundamental calling to embrace a spiritual path that helps them transcend fear and helps them open to the greater ocean of spirituality, positivity, and optimism. And they need quiet space, privacy, and or retreat-oriented lifestyle to facilitate that. Someone born in the year of the rooster, one part of the earth trinity, snake, rooster, and ox. Rooster is the year that summarizes those who are here to get grounded through their intellectual accumulation of information as well as practical evolution of skills and material talents that allow them to become involved in the organization, administration, and or practical physical healing processes that people are needing in society. They're here to be out there as service people. Your best accountants, bookkeepers, business administrators, website designers, computer programmers, scientists are more in the area of the Rooster, as well as practical healers like nutritionists, acupuncturists, massage and physical therapists, etc., body-mind therapists, Ayurvedic doctors. So there's this great difference between Rabbit and Rooster. So your opposites in Chinese astrology will improve compatibility if, let's say, they are born in the favorable elements, such as, let's say we have a water rabbit and a wood rooster, okay? Or if we had a metal dragon and a fire dog, okay? Metal dragon born in 1940, a fire dog born in 1946. Bill Clinton and George W. Bush, both born in 1946. So the element combinations facilitate a more favorable possibility or a least favorable. So given there are 12 Chinese years and there are 5 elements potentially for any of those Chinese years, that makes 60, 5 times 12, 60 possibilities for compatibility. So you're at 1 out of 60, let's say 60 being your best and 1 being your worst. Your worst is going to be your least favorable element and your least favorable Chinese year. So that concludes our presentation for this evening. I welcome to hear from you if you have questions or would like a free sample reading with me. You can go to my website to www.altazarastrology.com or email me at altazarastrology@gmail.com. And I'd be happy to arrange or connect with you to do a brief sample reading of your chart or answer some questions you may have about Chinese astrology and compatibility. So thank you all for being here tonight. Happy Mother's Day and namaste.